Hey guys, welcome to this week's Thursday FIFA FX post, and I thought we'd try and take a different approach to things this week. Rather than the usual text, videos and screenshots on the blog, I thought we'd try a video diary with commentary from my good self. I'm not going to play any games during this video diary, but what I thought I would do was just walk you through my career mode hub, through my setup, show you a little look at my squad, some of the transfers I've lined up, the youth academy, and just a few other bits, and we'll see how we go. Okay, so first things first, just going to delve into the board objectives that have been set for me this year. As you can see, in summary, I've got to keep a streak of at least 85% attendance in 10 consecutive home matches. That's been achieved already. Finish in a UEFA Europa League spot, currently 5th, so on target for that. And reach the last 16 of the FA Cup. That starts after Christmas. We're currently in December, so hopefully we're on track for that as well. Do have obviously more in-depth objectives as well, but most of those are low. It's only the brand exposure and the financial really that count towards whether you are trusted by the board or not. Moving on, let's just have a quick look at finances. I've got a little bit of a healthy profit because I've got some money left over from last season. Some money that the board invested in me after choosing not to sack me last season, and also a couple of players that we've sold. One of them was for 92 million to Barcelona right back, Almeida. So we've got 115 million in profit. Let's have a look at the budget. So I've currently got 80 million in, obviously I'll need to bring that across to give myself some wages, but there you go, around about 75 million, which is quite healthy for a team of Palace's stature. Let's just jump in now and have a look at the squad. As you can see, this is my starting 11. I've got Max Gomez up front with Brewster, Maya in the attacking midfield role, Traore out wide on the right, that's Adama Traore, and Moses Simon, who's a blisteringly fast left winger. Perrault at left back, Piccini at right back, and Nelson Semedo as the defensive midfielder, Bruno Viana and Tarkowski at centre backs, and Andrada as goalkeeper. If we just flick into the team screen, you can see some of the subs. We've got Campbell, who's been a bit of a disappointment, usually playing him wide out on the left. Balzat back up for Traore on the right wing, decent player. Mason Greenwood, striker, he's on a 2-year loan from Manchester United. Max Arnold, who's actually leaving to go abroad in January. William Cyprian, a good defensive middle, he's got a good shot on him. Also got the leadership trait, so he's good to have as a captain when he's in the team. And then the reserves are pretty much made up by a bunch of youth players that are coming through. One of the most promising being Schinkel, who's a good tall forward, a little bit in the Thomas Müller kind of stature, and Jason Lakilo, who's a tricky, skillful, pacey right winger. Be looking to move him up into the team probably at the end of the season, or send him out on loan for a little bit of experience. As you can see, I'm playing what's classed as a 4-3-3, but it's more like a 4-4-2 really, with a holding defensive midfielder, an attacking midfielder, and then the two up top. I've also got other formations set up according to my attack or defensive level. So if we just click into that, you can see when I'm going to attack in, I just pull one of the defenders back, push the two wide players up top to make a three-pronged attack. That's usually when we're either level, or I feel that we aren't quite creating enough chances, or a team's slightly weaker and we can sort of exploit getting in behind their back line. Ultra attacking, when we're 1-0 down or 2-0 down and really chasing the game, we switch to a back three, pack the midfield out and go for the three-pronged attack as well. Just as you can see here as well, the tactics on there: constant pressure, lots of width, lots of depth, get the ball up as quickly as possible, just full on onslaught. And then moving in the other direction, defensively, when I want to defend a slim lead, last few minutes of the game, 4 across the back, 5 across the middle, 1 up top, just keep it nice and steady. And then ultra defensive when absolutely must not concede. 5 across the back, 4 across the middle, 1 up top, with the tactics being drop right back, play with very little depth, very little width, just pack that middle, limit the opponents to long shots, and just try and stuff them basically. So that's my tactical setup. Moving across now, we'll have a quick look at the league table. Previously mentioned that I was sitting 5th. There we go, as you can see, 1 point off the top. Played 18, won 12, drawn 3, lost 3, scored 35, conceded 20, goal difference of 15. Nice healthy position there. As I said, just approaching the last week of December, so pretty much halfway through the season. Only thing of concern really there is the goals conceded. Do tend to ship a few goals which need to work on really. If we could get that down by even 10, then you know, we'd have one of the healthiest goal differences in the division. Next game, looking over on the right, is against Blackburn, coming up away at Ewood Park. So let's have a look at where Blackburn are in the league. Oh, and they're rock bottom. Look at that record. Played 18, haven't won a single game, drawn 1, lost 17, only scored 5 goals in 18 games, and conceded 57, 1 point. That's an absolutely abysmal record. Jack Walker would be turning his grave. If we don't give them an absolute tonking, then I might as well pack my bags. Right, so we've had a look at that. Had a look at the squad, had a look at the tactical setup. Let's just pop into transfers. In my global transfer network, I've got some instructions set up at the moment. Just one instruction, and that is to look for players in any position with any attributes between the ages of 23 to 35 who've got 1 year or less on my contract. So what that is going to do is return me a basically a list of players such as these, and these are all players as we're approaching January. When you reach January, those players will be within the last 6 months of their contract, and by law within football, if you're over the age of 23 and you have 6 months or less left on your current contract, then you're free to enter into a pre-contract agreement with any other club. So basically, this is a way to identify players that you can possibly sign on a free transfer, because you can negotiate directly with the player and not have to negotiate a fee with the club. Obviously, if you're playing a player 120 grand over 5 years, that works out to be about 110 million. So it's not really any cheaper, but it's much more affordable than having to outlay the 100 million up front, kind of like a credit agreement. So a great way to sign some really good players without paying a fee. Just quickly looking down this list, Mateo Kovacic, as you can see, 29, still got some good years in him, amazing stats. 60 million, probably go for 80 or 90 if you used to buy him outright. As you can see there, joining Juventus when the transfer window opens, so obviously they've already put in an agreement with him. But look, another one there, Aubameyang, 34 in game now, so coming towards the end of his career, but still rated 84, still a great player, probably 50 million. Contract expiring in 7 months. By the time we get to January, that'll be 6, and I could approach to sign him on a free. I'm not going to, as tempting as it is, because I've got some good youth coming up and I'm happy with my forwards at the moment. But you can actually sign some really good players from here on a free if you look ahead of January for those players that his contract are expiring. Now, if I move across into my transfer hub, these are players that I've just shortlisted to have another look at. I say Nicolas Pepe and Kepa, the Chelsea keeper, are both within the last 6 months, or will be within the last 6 months of their contract. So I plan to make approaches for both of those. Ivan Rakitic, 35, central midfielder. I was looking for a central midfielder, but I'm not now, so I can remove him. And Vinagre is a blisteringly fast left back for Wolves, who I've tried to sign twice, but they want sort of 60, 70 million for him. So I've added him to my shortlist, and I'm just going to keep popping back in for him and seeing if a deal can be done, but he's out of my price range currently. So that's a good way to sign some players on a free. What else can we have a look at? I'll pop into the youth setup. As you can see, my youth staff here, I've got Brendan White, Irish scout, 5-star experience, 5-star judgment. Currently setting up a scouting network for 6 months to look for players in England with technically gifted abilities. So we'll see what he returns. And these are the players currently in my youth academy. I've only got a few in there because I went through and released a few that weren't looking like they were going to make the mark. Looking for a decent overall, around about the 60 to 65 mark, and a high potential really for them to make the grade. You can see there 58 overall at the moment, 81 potential. And if we just flick through, there's a few players in here like 51 overall, 71 potential, age 17. He's probably not going to make it, so I'll release him. And there's a few others in there that could continue to develop. Usually find between the ages of 14 to 17 they're okay. Once they start reaching the ages of 18, if you don't do anything with them, they'll start making demands that they want to be promoted to the senior team, or they'll leave. And then it's about making a call really, whether you want to promote them, develop them, ship them out on loan, try and sell them, or include them in the squad. But I try and keep this list fairly small because otherwise you lose track of who you're trying to develop, and obviously there's limited space within the team to be able to promote them and then develop them. So on the back of that, we'll pop in to the development schedule, and you can see here this is where you can add players to your training slots. What I usually do is try and train players that are up and coming, high potential young players. I don't tend to train first team regular players because they get XP and development points through playing matches anyway. So in this instance, I'll whack Shinkle in, and you can just flick through, and on the right you'll see that the blue bar is where their level's currently at, and the green bar is their potential growth if you train them. So let's train him in that. Let's go through and add a few more players. Cardoso as well. There we go, good high growth. Move on to some wingers. Jason Lakilo, very promising player. I've got high hopes for him. We'll train him. Also, we'll train Kelly, another player. If you look on the left, look at that. Acceleration, currently 99. Sprint speed, 99. Stamina, 99. Reactions, 94. He's going to be an absolutely blisteringly fast left winger. He's already valued 5.5 million. He's only what, 17. So we'll stick him in. And we'll go for a midfielder as well. We'll stick him right and just choose something from him. He's not had any growth yet because there's no blue bar, so we can train him in anything. And then I just simulate all the training schedules because it would take too long to play every training schedule for 5 players in between every game. So just simulate those. Let's have another look. What else can we have a touch on? I've gone into transfers. I've showed you some of that. Showed you my scouting. I've showed you my transfer hub. We've had a look at tactics, objectives, budget. That's pretty much it really. As I said, not going to play any game. Just wanted to give you a little look around my career mode infrastructure, show how I have things set up, how I do things, and if there's any comments or questions or feedback, then by all means post them on the blog. As I said, just thought it'd be a little bit of a change than posting the usual text. So that's it for now. I hope you enjoyed this alternative little look, and remember, stay safe, stay well. Cheers.